Coming up on this week's episode, we're talking VAR, Manchester City and the FA Cup draw, plus all the usual features, so let's get started. Hello and welcome to a new episode of View from the Sideline podcast. It's Chris here and Liam is here as well. Hello Liam.
Evening Chris, how are you mate?
Yep, not too bad. Got over the sickness bug and stuff last week after we recorded. It all started then. I just came down with it. So, yeah, not great. But, I mean, I've seen Chelsea win twice in a row.
Yeah.
2 clean sheets.
I know.
Things on the change. I'm not so sure, but I mean,
you've scored.
We've got Burnley at the weekend, and then we've got a hideous run up till Christmas.
Yeah.
I think we're playing 8 of last year's top 10. So it's going to be interesting. But
you don't have a good record against the top sides either, do you? At the moment, I don't think. I'm sure I read somewhere that it was.
We don't really have a great record against the teams below us either.
Well, no, that's true.
So yeah, but it was good. The Brighton win was good. Defended really well, and they defended well again on Monday night as well. So yeah, hopefully looking at. You must be happy as well, I guess.
Absolutely delighted. Even the most positive of Villa fans, I don't think would have expected the result that we got this weekend with the 6-1 win.
That's what happens when you lose to Chelsea. You lose all motivation goes out the window, and you end up getting trounced. So
yeah, they lost all confidence. To be fair, they played like they were low on confidence, which was unusual because Brighton are normally a very positive side. But absolutely thrilled, obviously. Hat-trick for Watkins, which is his second already this season. Southgate was watching, so you can guarantee now that he'll be nowhere near the England squad the next time that's announced. So that will keep him nice and fit and ready for all the European games that he's going to be playing. Fingers crossed, from tomorrow night.
I was about to say, you must be playing tomorrow night, I guess.
Yeah, we've got a team that I can't pronounce. Zhirinsky or something along those lines.
It's the fun of the
first
home conference.
Yeah. The first home European game for, I think it's like 12 or 13 years. So hopefully it should be a good atmosphere. Similar, I think, to how Newcastle's is tonight. It looks like it's a bit of a fierce atmosphere going on there. I don't know if you've seen the score, but they are beating PSG 2-0 in a battle of the oil-backed teams. Don't really know who would want to lose that one. Either way.
Yeah. I had seen that they were 2-0 up. I saw Dan Burn score, didn't he? Second goal. I mean,
yes, Dan Burn. Almiron with the first one.
Ex-Yeovil Town player Dan Burn.
Yeah.
Scored in the playoff final against Brentford. So, yeah. Anyway.
I don't know which goal he's more proud of, mate, against PSG or against Brentford. Who knows?
It's got to be the playoff final against
You
Brentford.
would have thought, yeah.
Anyway, some mild VAR controversy, I guess, over the weekend.
Very, very mild, yes.
Obviously, since then, we've obviously heard the recording. I'm sure you've heard the recording too. But obviously, we'll just go back to the actual game itself. Now, obviously, to the untrained eye, to the referee, he obviously is waiting, isn't he, for the goal to go in before they call it back like they do. Mm-hmm. And obviously, when we're all watching replays of the game, and I mean, it's clear. I don't think you even needed the lines to see that that he was definitely 100% onside. And I think there was a huge confusion about what's happened between them looking at it and then them directing the referee on what to do. And for at the time, for some unknown reason, the goal wasn't given, which left a very dark cloud over the game, and a lot of people confused as to why it wasn't given.
Yep.
But obviously, since then, they've rightly given the recording out. I mean, probably took too long to come out, to be honest with you. You'd think, they made the statement out pretty much straight after the game to say that, there'd been a huge error. And everyone was waiting on to find out what had actually happened. But it took I think it was like 48 hours, wasn't it, for them to release the...
I think at least 48, yeah. It was sort of yesterday afternoon, I think it was, that it came out, wasn't it? So,
and
yeah.
I mean, the recording, it's you could almost put that clown noise behind it, because obviously everything is going right up until the point where they've said that the on-field... I got a bit confused myself, but they've said that the decision to disallow the goal, wasn't it, was correct. Something's happened. I think it's been lost in translation, hasn't it, between the VAR specialist and the referee. And then what happened after is, I think it's like 7 or 8 seconds after, they realise, don't they, that something's gone terribly wrong. And it's at that point where, to me, it seems like no one knows what to do. They don't know.
Panic.
They're trying to think, I think one guy on the recording is like, get them to try and stop the game. And then you've got another guy saying, it's too late, So,
no one knows what to do. I think it's one of those. Someone out there in the Twitter universe has got that video with the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme tune playing after all the speaking's been done. It is a car crash moment to watch it.
It's like, have you seen the meme with the dog and there's just fire all around this dog?
Yeah,
it's kind of like that. They just don't know. The sheer panic behind the guy's voice when he says, no, it's the on-field decision was incorrect or something, and I think the referees interpreted that as he should disallow the goal, when I think what's supposed to be said was the on-field decision was correct or incorrect.
Incorrect, I think
to give the goal.
It looks like what's happened is the ball's gone in the back of the net. I think the VAR referee has assumed that it's been given as a goal, has checked the goal, seen that it's not offside, so he's gone, check complete, stick with the decision, thinking that the goal had been given, and obviously the linesman had flagged
already,
and by the time that they'd realised, which, as you say, it was a matter of seconds later, Spurs had kicked off again, and there was no way that they could bring the play back. Now, my first question would be, I think in the time that they realised their mistake, Spurs had taken a free kick and launched a long ball forward, I think, and it had gone straight to the Liverpool goalkeeper, I want to say, or a Liverpool centre-back or something along those lines. Literally nothing had happened. Nothing that, if you hadn't stopped the game at that point, no one would have said that's totally unfair against Spurs because they've gone and scored or anything like that. It would have literally just been, everything's got lost in translation. Hang on a second. What he actually meant was, I can give the goal. Confusion over. And all match of the day would have then spoken about is, didn't they take their time making that decision? Weren't they a little bit daft, but they've got the right decision at the end of the day? That didn't happen. Play continued. They felt like they couldn't pull it back. And we are now in the position where I don't think Jurgen Klopp earlier today was saying that the match should be replayed. But I think he was asked what the options were, and he was sort of saying, "There's nothing you can really do. The only thing you can do is bring in matches to get replayed." But we haven't had that to this point, so it's not likely that that's ever going to come in. I don't think he was suggesting it as a real scenario, but I think what can you do? What can you do from here?
That's the thing. I think from my point of view, it's probably at this moment it is a one-off. It's happened once. You know, the issue is it's potentially cost one of the team's points. Now, I don't want to hear Liverpool fans banging on about this come the end of the season when they're 2 points behind winning the league. I don't want to hear that. I think what should have happened was they should have, as soon as that they had realised, the game should have been stopped.
Yeah.
The goal should have been given, and I think there was ample opportunity for them to do that.
Nothing had happened in the time between the kick, the free kick being taken, and them realising nothing had happened. If they'd have spoken into the referee's ear at that moment, they wouldn't have stopped anything important from happening. I don't understand why, just because it's in the rules that the ball is now back in play, common sense should take over and say, well, actually, no, hold on a minute. We've just misunderstood what we were saying.
When you think about it, if, say, your team is on the attack and they score a goal, but then VAR goes back 30 seconds to say there was a foul and the build-up to the goal, I mean, there's a 30-second window there where they've, between the alleged foul and the actual goal, there's 30 seconds there. So why, in this situation, why can't they give 30 seconds and go back and give the goal? I don't understand. It's pretty much the same thing. I just don't. I know if it's Chelsea, I'd be fuming.
Absolutely furious. And the frustrating thing is, there's nothing that they can do to even this out for Liverpool now. The game's gone. They can't replay the game. They can't award Liverpool a point based on the fact they might have got a draw. So nothing's going to happen. And then in a few weeks' time, they're going to change the ruling to say, actually, it can be stopped at any time. Like, the game can be stopped at any time up to, I don't know, a minute after the play has continued, to alleviate this from happening again. And the reason that I say this is because it happened to Villa a couple of seasons ago when VAR was first brought in for the offside rule. The offside rule changed because against Man City, Tyrone Mings got hold of the ball, but the only reason he got onto the ball was because there was a Man City player sort of charging him down from an offside position, who then went on to score. So that rule changed because it was clear that it was not right. It was clear that there'd been an injustice. So they changed the rules 2 weeks later, but it was too late by that point, and it's going to be too late again by this point. So Liverpool are going to feel harshly done by. Like you say, all they've got to do now, the officials, is just hope that there's not 1 point deciding the title this season. I don't think there will be. I still think Man City are going to win, but if there is, there will be good calls from Liverpool to get compensated in some form.
Would you say, in this case, too many cooks spoil the broth, or whatever it is?
Absolutely. Did you hear all the voices on the recording?
Is there too many people trying to talk at once into the referee's ear? And I think there's 4? Isn't there 4 people in the VAR sort of track at one point?
So I think in the recording that I heard, I think you heard the assistant referee, the referee, the main VAR referee, the assistant VAR referee, and then was someone controlling the replay as well.
Yeah.
So I think there was like 5 people looking over 30 seconds worth of footage. again,
can't just one person do the VAR thing? I don't really understand.
No,
Can't he do the computer as well?
You look at, again, I'll always refer to rugby union and rugby league with a sort of like a video assistant referee. They've got one video assistant referee, someone who's controlling the replays, I guess like an editor, and the referee. And they just, the person controlling the replays doesn't talk. It's literally the referee to the referee that's in the studio.
You can hear them as well.
You can hear them both, yeah, which I still think we should bring in, because I think if that had broadcast live, can you imagine the uproar in the stadium? I mean, luckily it was obviously a home game for Spurs, so it wasn't too bad. But if that had happened at Anfield, can you imagine what would have gone on if people could overhear what was being said then? But it might stop that mistake from happening again.
It just seemed like there was a lot of people talking at once, and it did get quite confusing. Even with the subtitles at the bottom, you know, it was still quite confusing. But I mean, I think we've just got to hope that this doesn't happen again. But it obviously it's being looked into and has been looked into, and I mean, all they can really do is say sorry to Liverpool, and I mean, sorry, probably.
Do you think there was any impact with the officials? I think they were officialing in the UAE. Was it 2 days before?
Yeah, I didn't realise that Premier League referees. I know they referee like sort of Champions League, Europa League games and stuff. I did not realise that they also do like Saudi League and UAE League.
No, me neither.
It's cup, so isn't it? It's not their league games. It was a cup match apparently, but yeah, I don't know. You'd like to think not, but I mean, they came back on Thursday, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
I'm sure they came back in first class. I'm sure
they did. Yeah.
I wouldn't. If it was like a mistake to the untrained eye that you couldn't. You know, it was like a hard decision to call, you know, then maybe, but, you know, it's pretty obvious this one, isn't it? No, it's not like they're going to hide from this one, but we'll have to wait and see what happens, but
I'm sure we'll be talking VAR again in the future.
Too many people trying to have one conversation
at
once, so maybe that's something they can look into. We'll move on, to a very, very surprising result at Molineux at the weekend. Now, me and you know, we're both part of a predictions league, you know, where we work, and I can't imagine either of us putting Man City down for a defeat on this one.
No.
They are playing tonight, actually. They have just conceded a goal, actually. It's 1-1 now. Leipzig have scored. But yeah, very, very strange result considering, you know, Wolves, you know, let's face it, haven't been, you know, that great this season, and last season they weren't that great either. And Man City were obviously protecting their 100% record as well. Now, obviously the first goal was an own goal. Then Man City get back into it. So you've got to think at that point at 1-1, you probably put a lot of money on Manchester City going on to win that one.
100%.
But obviously that didn't happen, and Wolves actually went on to win the game. But have you seen how many shots on goal Man City? They had 23 shots on goal.
Yeah.
And Wolves had 3 and only 1 shot on target.
Yeah, and managed to get 2 goals out of it. Yeah.
Now, you know, something's gone terribly wrong, and you can probably say, oh, did Man City have a weakened team out? No, they didn't. No. They had probably their strongest team out that they could field.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do you think this is a one-off?
Yes, I do. I do think it's a one-off. I think, I only caught the highlights of that game, but they did highlight Wolves' defence, which I think was absolutely fair. even looking at the highlights, you could see the shift that they put in.
Yeah.
I've always actually, considering he's played for most teams that I really don't like, I've always rated Craig Dawson quite highly, and thought he might have got a bigger move to, a sort of, well, he played for West Ham. They're a big club, but I always think he's been quite underrated as a defender.
Yeah.
And they did something that I don't think many teams try and do against Haaland, because I think when you come up against someone like that, the temptation is to just say, look, you can't man mark him. It's impossible.
Yeah.
You're not going to mark him out of the game because he is who he is. So you've just got to come up with a way of stopping the ball getting to him. And I think Wolves actually decided to do both. They just stuck Craig Dawson on him all game, didn't give him an inch, and the way that they were set up was perfect. I mean, there was no Kevin De Bruyne, was there? I don't think. I think he was. Is he injured at the moment?
No, he's injured. Yeah, no. Alvarez and Haaland were both playing.
Yeah, so De Bruyne is a big loss because obviously a lot of that when teams play quite narrow against Man City, they sit quite deep. There's not many gaps through. That's when De Bruyne comes into his own, really, isn't it? He'll find that pass. He'll pick out Haaland in a crowded penalty box or something, and they just didn't have that. So credit to Wolves, I think, for setting up in the way they did and for actually going with an old school man marking approach. I don't think it was necessarily Man City having a horrendous day. I just think there was so little space for them to work in the Wolves' third. They had a lot of possession, a lot of territory. It's always going to be hard to break a team down like that. And it wasn't. I know you've just said Wolves didn't. They had 3 shots and 1 on target. Yes, but it wasn't a case of them just sitting back and letting Man City attack after attack.
No, they had a fair amount of possession, to be fair.
Yeah, their game was counter, and they played it actually really well. Okay, they only got 3 shots off in the end. I think that does go a long way to say they do need a striker. Since Jimenez's injury, they've not really had someone who puts the ball in the net regularly. Neto looked dangerous, I thought. And that was their game plan. Sit deep, win the ball back, but they didn't just hoof it up the pitch and let Man City attack again. They actually tried to play some football on the break, and that's where both their goals came from. So I think they played really well. They really surprised me because, like you say, they've not had the greatest start to the season.
No.
I was watching Football Focus actually earlier on Saturday, and they had the reporter at Molineux, and he was quite condescending, I think, towards Wolves in saying how much luck they were going to need this afternoon. And I know coming up against Man City, you know that, but as a commentator, I just thought you meant to be impartial.
Yeah.
And he was very much like it could be a big score for Man City this afternoon, but obviously it wasn't. So yeah, fair play to them.
Well, they've got Arsenal this weekend, Man City. So
big game.
Big game for them because obviously Arsenal and Tottenham are only a point behind them. I mean, Villa could, a miracle might need to happen, but Villa could go top this weekend.
Well, you never know, mate. You never know.
Another 6, another 6 goals, and you'd be there. But yeah, no,
strange things have happened. We have got Wolves this weekend, so hopefully they get a little bit complacent after their win over Man City.
Yeah, maybe just don't let them have lots of shots, and maybe they won't score as many. But yeah, no, it was good to see Wolves doing well. I quite like their manager Gary now. I don't know, there's something about him I do quite like. But yeah, no, we'll see how Man City get on the weekend. But we're gonna move down the football pyramid.
Just before we do, Chris, it's 3-0 to Newcastle now. PSG are on the end of a hammering today. Only 50 minutes gone as well, so could be more goals to come. We'll keep an eye on it. But yes, sorry, back to...
They took our Champions League spot. I'm jealous. I'm jealous that I'm not watching Chelsea in the Champions League or Europe season.
I know.
Yeah, so from oil money to no money. So the fourth qualifying round for the FA Cup was drawn a couple of days ago. Now, we are mainly mentioning this because Yeovil Town are still in. They beat Didcot 2-0 at the weekend. So they're into the fourth qualifying round and they're playing Southend at home, which is quite an interesting tie because Southend are in a bit of spot of bother at the moment, aren't they, with finances?
Yes.
And they are running out of time, I believe, but I believe there is someone lining up to buy them.
I believe they found a buyer from the 1st of November, the reports I read earlier, so they may still be a team by then.
So they're another home tie for Yeovil. So it's the third in a row in the FA Cup. And a win here would obviously get them into the first round, which is obviously huge, again, for the club, not just financially, financially is very, very good as well. But some other teams that are still in there are Sheppey United. Huge Sheppey fan, Liam?
I can't say I am, but good luck to them.
Obviously all the National League teams got entered into this, so as well. You got Peterborough Sports and Needham Market are still in there. Bromsgrove Sporting.
Yeah, they're a team I am familiar with, being based in Birmingham.
Yeah, Tottenham are still in there. They're playing Ramsgate.
Local team to me. Biggleswade Town, of course, the team that Aston Villa bought Keenan Davis from.
Still in there, So obviously we keep an eye on them. I think it's not this week, next week that the ties are being played. So, and I can see here in front of me that they'll receive £9,375 if they win. And so that's a lot of money to some of these teams.
It is, yeah.
And even if they lose, they still get just over £3,000. So
not too bad. And 90 minutes away from the first round proper, which is of course the League 1 and League 2 teams. So the prize is quite big. You could be playing quite a good League 1 side if you do get through. So
let's hope you get Cheltenham.
Because, that's what you'd want. Yeah. No goals so far this season. Well,
how many games is it?
11.
Oh my.
Yeah. I think it's 11 league games without scoring. They did manage to score in the EFL Trophy, but that was
just the Rovers, wasn't it? That was an own goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an own goal. Yeah, so no Cheltenham player has scored so far this season. So if you do want a team, that is the team to draw in the next round. But
because they play the team just above them, Fleetwood.
Yeah, last night
they lost 2-0, didn't they?
Yeah, didn't score then, and I think it's Derby County up next. So, it's not looking good for fellow Cheltenham fans.
They must be that must be a near record, surely. 11 games of.
It is tied for the longest run without scoring. So, one more game and they will be the record holders. So, pray for us. When we face, I think it's Derby this weekend. I'm just frantically checking BBC Sport to get the fixtures. I think it is
Derby because I think you said to me, I messaged you on Monday and I said, they got Fleetwood tomorrow. If they're going to score, they're going to need to do it tomorrow because they're just above them. And then you were like, because they're going to need to because they got Derby next. So
I'm sure it is. Yeah, Cheltenham against Derby, 3:00 on Saturday. There you go. At least they're at home. You never know. You never know what will happen at home.
You never know. Anyway, that's it for part 1. We'll be back in part 2 where I've got a quiz, some wonders are white, and there's also who am I. So we'll be back in a bit. Welcome back to part 2 of this week's episode. Liam, we're going to go in with some wonders of white.
Go for it. Stat me.
I'll start. So there have been 17 red cards shown to players in the Premier League this season after 68 games. At the same stage of last season, there'd only been 5 sending offs.
It's a fierce league this year.
It's a fierce league. Okay. So since Rodri has made his Premier League debut in August 2019, Man City have only lost 5 of 15 matches without the Spaniard in the competition. By contrast, they've lost 5 of their last 67 with him in it.
Yeah,
So,
he is important for them.
Yeah, they've won 53 of those 67 games that he's played. And only 9 of the...
And it doesn't look like he trusts Calvin Harris, that's a singer, Calvin Phillips even, to take his
still
place.
be an England squad they made, don't worry.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%.
So Crystal Palace boss Roy Hodgson is the first manager to string together 5 unbeaten Premier League visits to Old Trafford in a row.
Wow.
It's won 3 and drawn 2.
That is a hell of a stat.
He is old though. He's very old.
Yeah, he is.
Here you go. You'll like this one. Douglas Luiz has become only the second player to score in 5 consecutive home Premier League appearances for Aston Villa. It's a record held by Dwight York from December 1996.
He is on fire this season, to be honest. Douglas Luiz, he has been.
So if he scores in your next home game, he's broken Dwight York's record.
Of all the people I didn't expect it to be, it would be him. But I have had him in my fantasy league team from the start of the season, so I'm very glad that it's him. But yeah, he's been on fine form for us so far this year. Long may it continue. I think I was reading that he's rumoured to get another Brazil call-up. I think it's been a year or so since he's been in the team. So yeah, fully deserved.
Okay, right, next we have a quiz for you.
Yes,
So,
I was a little bit mean to you last week.
Yeah, I'm still crying over that. No wonder I was so ill after.
Yeah.
So this quiz is a little bit different. So I have gone into the depths of the Aston Villa archives and picked 5 of your most famous victories or defeats.
Okay.
Now, here's how it's going to work. Obviously, each one of these victories or defeats had a starting 11.
Yeah.
Your job is going to be, well, you're going to try and tell me the 11 that started the game.
Yeah.
Now, you can go as far as you want into the 11. I will give you 2 chances on each to get 1 wrong. And once they're gone, they're gone. And if you don't think you can get any more, you can stop.
Right.
Or if you continue and get a 3rd one wrong, it's game over for that one.
Okay.
I'm afraid.
Right.
So, the first game I've picked is your famous victory on October the 12th. It's actually not so it's almost 2 years ago actually, where you beat a certain Liverpool team 7-2.
Yes.
On that day, can you remember who the starting 11 was?
What a day that was as well. Right. So Watkins got a hat-trick. So he was definitely there. Ross Barkley scored.
2.
So he was definitely there. And Jack Grealish scored.
3.
So he was definitely there. Would Martinez have been in goal by that point? Yes, Martinez would have been in goal.
4.
Mings and Konsa at centre-back.
5 and 6.
Matty Cash.
7.
Can't remember who was playing at left-back. Yes, I can. Matt Targett.
8.
Douglas Luiz would have been in the centre midfield with John McGinn.
9 and 10, so you got 1 more.
1 more to go. Well, who am I missing? I'm missing some kind of winger. Who would have been playing on the right wing? I'm going to take a stab in the dark and go Bertrand Traore.
It's your first loss.
Oh. So that
one
means...
more. So you got one more guess, and then you'll probably have to either guess again and lose everything.
I'll guess again. I'll go with El Ghazi instead.
It's not El Ghazi.
Okay, I'm going to give up there.
You want to take your 10 points?
I'll take that 10.
It was Trezeguet.
He would have actually been my next guess, but yeah, I didn't. Yeah, gutted. Okay, 10 points. That's all right.
Okay, so this next game was a certain. I think this was a 3-1 win against Manchester United last season, but it was the first time you beaten Manchester United at home in the Premier League since 1995, I think it was.
Yes.
So, the starting 11, please.
So, Emi Martinez put off Fernandes from the penalty, so he was in goal because he did his little dance that annoyed all the United fans, which was great. I think it was the same back four. I think oh no, Target wouldn't have been playing, so I'm going to go with Cash and Mings.
Great.
Now I know that Courtney House scored, but I don't know whether he started. I'm going to leave that for now, and I'm going to go with Lucas Digne at left back.
4.
I'm going to go Louise and McGinn in centre midfield again.
Right, one of those is wrong.
Oh, okay.
Douglas Luiz is 5, by the way.
Okay, so McGinn didn't play.
He was a sub, I'll tell you.
Okay, I'll come back to that. I'm going to go Watkins up front.
6.
And then it gets a bit tricky. So I've lost a life already.
Yeah.
So I can afford to have a guess.
You can?
At the others. I will go with Courtney Hawes because he did score.
No.
Okay, I'll leave it there.
So you'll take your 6 points.
I'll take 6.
Okay, so the ones you didn't get was Konsa. He did play. Dendonka. Ramsey. Buendia. And Bailey was the 5 that you were missing.
Yeah, I should have got Jacob Ramsey, shouldn't I? Really? Good. Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Wouldn't have got Dendonka. He never plays for us these days.
So I'm going to go to another one of your wins this time. I think this is your biggest ever win, and it came against Wimbledon in the Premier League. So you're going back a fair few years. So I think this is 93, I think.
Yes.
So, okay. Maybe? No, hang on. No. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. I think this is 95.
Right, okay.
So
1995. So that was... Yeah, I'm trying to cast my mind back because very occasionally the Villa Twitter account puts highlights of old games on there, and because it's our record win, it is one that appears every now and again. So
I think it was against Wimbledon. I think when I was looking, because this has come off your website.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Dean Saunders.
Is number 1, yeah.
Because I think he got a few goals that day. Bosnich would have been in goal, I think.
2.
I want to say Daly and Atkinson would have been playing, I think.
He is not on the list.
Oh, he's not on there. Okay. Paul McGrath
is on the list, number 3, yeah.
Steve Staunton.
4.
Andy Townsend.
5.
And now I'm starting to struggle. Because if Saunders was playing, that meant York probably wasn't. Who else would we have had around them? I've got another guess, haven't I?
You have got one,
I can afford to have another stab in the dark. But I'll
This
see
is
if I can
probably the
think of.
hardest. I will say this. This is probably the hardest. This is the one that goes back the furthest.
1995. Ekiog would have been playing back then. I'm going to go with Ugo Ekiog.
That's your second, I'm afraid.
Ah, gutted.
So you can take your 5. Or you
I'll take the 5. I will take the 5. I don't think I'm not confident of any more.
Okay. So the players you are missing, no, I wouldn't have got these. So Sean Teal.
Yeah, of course.
Brian Small.
Wouldn't
Ian
have got Brian.
Taylor.
Oh, should have got Ian
Tommy
Taylor.
Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
And Dwight York was in the 11.
Oh.
He did score as well. Tommy
he would have only
Johnson
been young then as
twice.
well.
I think Dean Saunders got a hat-trick. And Dwight York scored as well. Okay, next up. Unfortunately, this one is one of your defeats. And unfortunately, it is against Chelsea.
I wonder which one it is,
but
Chris.
It's not that one. This is the FA Cup final.
Oh, okay. I was there that day.
So,
okay.
I have your team here. I was very surprised at one of these players. But
I'll see if I can guess which one it was. Because this is when I first got properly obsessed with Aston Villa, and I went to this FA Cup final with my dad. So this was about the first time that I was getting video games as well, and I was absolutely always going to be Aston Villa. So I'm pretty good with knowledge about this team. I'm setting myself up for a failure. But David James made an absolute howler. Number 1.
1, yeah.
Southgate would have been our captain.
2.
Ekiog would have played alongside him.
3.
Alan Wright would have been at left back.
4.
I want to say Mark Delaney would have been playing at right back.
5.
Ian Taylor's already got a mention. He would have been playing.
6, yeah.
Dion Dublin would have been up front.
7.
With Julian Joachim.
It's your first one. He was on the bench. He came
on the bench. Okay. So it would have then been Carboni.
8.
Then I think Paul Merson.
9. 2 left to get.
It's got 2 left to get. So I think I'm missing Lee Hendry, of course.
No.
No?
No. He came on.
Always played for us back in those days. Okay, I'm going to leave it at 9. That's pretty good first.
9 point. Okay, you were missing Boateng.
Yeah, I knew there was another centre midfielder.
And according to this lineup, Gareth Barry was playing in a 3-man defence.
Yeah, we would have been playing 3-5-2 back then.
Yeah, Wright and Delaney were playing your wing backs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has Gareth Barry listed as one of. I don't know if that's a mistake, and Boateng would have been playing. No, because he was more of a defensive player, but okay.
No, Barry started out as a centre back with us, and then moved to left back, and then left midfield, and then into centre midfield.
This FA Cup final, you could only have 5 substitutes.
Okay.
Now,
so I've got 2 of them.
You've got Joachim and Hendry. Do you want to take a?
reckon
take a step or a stab, maybe a step. The other 3.
Is that meant to be a clue?
Yes.
Think
goalkeeper and think. Oh, step. Oh, it's gone under my foot.
Oh, so Enkelman was on the bench that day, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Ah, not Michael Oakes. Okay, and then I think Alan Thompson would have been on the bench.
No.
Maybe he was injured.
So you had a small, bold midfielder,
Steve Stone,
and I thought they got this one listed down as a defensive midfielder, but I thought he was a centre back. I think he played for Bolton as well. Same first letter as Stone, or surname.
Oh God, it's casted really. Would it be Schumacher?
No.
No.
J. Lloyd.
Samuel, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, he was a left back for a long, long time.
Yeah. So yeah, Hendry, Stone and Jurchen came on, but unfortunately it didn't change the game.
No, we still ended up losing. It was a long journey home from Wembley that day, but yeah, the last ever FA Cup final at that stadium, and I've got to be honest, probably the worst one. It was such a bad game. I don't know whether you remember it, Chris.
Chelsea played at the very last and at the very first FA Cup.
Did they?
The old and new Wembley, yeah.
There you go.
Won both, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah, well, there's no chance that we were appearing at the first of the new one, was there?
Okay, your fifth and final one, just so happens to be the other Chelsea game.
I thought it was going to. Oh God, yeah. I've tried to forget this team so many times.
So I have the 11 here, and yeah, it's not your best 11. Let me just say that.
It was 2013. Right?
2012. It was Christmas 2012.
Christmas 2012. Okay, so we've got Brad Guzan. How
can you not get that one yet?
Well, he's let that amount of goals in. He was literally on camera the entire game. God, who else would have played back then? Kieran Clark.
Yeah,
I want to say would have been at centre back with Vlar. Ron Vlar.
First one.
Oh, it's the first one already.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go elsewhere on the pitch then. So Delph must have been playing.
Oh, Liam.
Oh, we were really that bad. Okay. Do you know what? I've got to go for it. There's no point in me just accepting two. 2012, who would have been playing for us back then? I can't even remember who would have been up front. I think it's before Benteke's time, so I'm not going to say him. Christ, yeah, you can tell I've tried to forget this team. I want to say El Amadi would have been playing.
It's game over, I'm afraid. I told you this is not your best.
This really isn't.
So it was Guzan in goal. Herd, Herd. Never heard of him.
Yeah.
Clark and Baker were your.
Oh, Nathan Baker. I should have known. Every time he played, we lost. Yeah.
Lihar, Eric Lihar, was he?
Yeah, again. No. No, I think that's probably one of the reasons why we lost. Ashley Westwood was all right for us. Yeah, Barry Bannon.
And then your three up top was Brett Holman.
Christ, yeah, never would have got that in a million.
Andres Weimann.
Probably should have got him.
And you were, Benteke was there. He was.
He was. Okay. I thought it was before his. Christ, it's been 10 years then since he was playing for Villa. Doesn't seem like it's that long, but.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, it was a long day.
It was a very long day.
A very long day.
Brett Holman is a blast from the past. To be honest,
he was American. He was American, right? He was American.
Yeah, American, or maybe Australian. One of the two. Didn't last very long. I think we actually paid money for him, and then he just left for free like a year later.
No. So according to your website, you were playing a 5 at the back. Chris Herd was a centre back that day, and Lihar and Loughton were your wing backs.
Oh.
On the bench, you had Shay Given, Joe Bennett, who came on, Karim El Hamadi.
Right, yeah.
And Fabian Delph, Stephen Ireland came on, and someone called Jordan Bowery.
We signed him from League Two and then realised that he was actually just a League Two player and he went back quite quick. Yeah. Oh God, our recruitment back then was awful. It was League One and League Two players all the time, and somehow we managed to stay in the Premier League for a lot longer than we should have done.
19 games for you.
Yeah. Somehow. Yeah. Just don't know what we were thinking.
You didn't score a goal. According to this, you didn't.
I mean, we signed him from Chesterfield, and when you sign someone from League Two, you at least think when you're a Premier League team, well, they're going to have probably scored 20 goals like the previous season. No, he scored 10 goals in his whole Chesterfield career over 4 years. I mean, I just don't know why. Really don't know why. Very strange.
Well, he's at Mansfield Town now. If you were interested.
Yeah.
After Aston Villa, he kind of just slipped further and further down. Rotherham, Oxford, Leyton Orient Crew, MK Dons, and Mansfield. Although Mansfield, he's played 131 games, he scored 21 goals for them. So, yeah. Cool.
Right. Should we do a who am I?
Just to let you know, you got 10, 19, 20. You got 30 out of 55.
Not bad.
Which isn't bad. Which is just over halfway. Yeah.
Not too bad. I enjoyed that though, Chris. Maybe a famous Chelsea games for you is a quiz for the future.
Try finding some 8-0 ones. Go on.
I'm not going to get you to name the side that beat us 8-0. That would depress me even more. Let's do a who am I to end this week's podcast. So this player is still playing. Okay. So I'm not going to give you their current team. Yeah, but there is a nice little reason why I've included this player this week. So this player started at Aston Villa. They then moved to Fulham, and then they went on loan to their current team, signed permanently for their current team. They then left their current team and went to Southampton. Yeah. And then they signed on loan for their current team, and then permanently for their current team again, which is where they are now. So they've actually played for their current team in 4 different stints.
So all I've really got to work with is Villa, Fulham, and Southampton.
Yes. So this is the harder version. So I can maybe give some clues. I don't necessarily think their current team 100% gives it away, but see what you can do with that.
Okay. So starting at, I'm assuming Villa youngster, so might not necessarily have played for Villa that much. Fulham. Yeah, I'm going to need a clue.
Right. I will give you either the number of appearances he's made for his international team. I could give you his age. Or I could give you the stats for any one of those 3 teams, i.e. Villa, Fulham, or Southampton. Up to you.
Give me the stats for Southampton.
So the stats for Southampton, I'll be kind and throw the years in as well. So he played for Southampton between 2012 and 2019. He made
That's a long time.
193 appearances and 12 goals. I think that's just in the league. Let me check. Yes, in all competitions, 226 games and 14 goals.
Holy moly.
Tricky one this week.
Yeah, it's a long time. I'm trying to think of Southampton players. So they must have been there around the time they got relegated down to
They only played for Southampton in the Premier League, so it was only when they came back up in, I want to say, 2010, 2011, around then. He only played for them in the Premier League. But I can give you any of those other clues if you would like.
Thinking.
I can even throw in a wild card clue that might give it away.
190. That says to me it's definitely not a striker. That's not a striker. But then
it's about the same record as Shane Long, but yeah, it's not a striker.
It's obviously the team. Just one more clue, and then I'll.
Right, I'll give you a nicer clue. So, on the 1st of October, this player was announced as an interim manager for the team that he's currently at.
Yeah, that's quite a huge clue actually. Because
I
know the answer because I was listening to Talk Sport and they announced it. So the team is Rangers.
Correct.
But that means the person that you were thinking of was Stephen Davis.
Correct, it is Stephen Davis, yes. MBE Stephen Davis well. Okay. 4 spells at Rangers, and the reason I included him was not because he is interim Rangers manager while still being their player. It's because his first goal for Northern Ireland, he's still a Northern Ireland international, by the way, 140 caps for Northern Ireland, but his first goal was on the 8th of October 2005. So in 4 days' time, that goal will be legally allowed to drink because it was 18 years ago, which is mad how long his career is.
How old is he? He's
38, and still playing international football. Amazing career. 140 games and 13 goals. Does he pick himself? He's played 8 games, I think, for Rangers this year in the league, so he is playing regularly still. I think he was injured for a little bit last year. But I don't know whether you pick yourself. I mean, Vialli did it for Chelsea, didn't he, quite successfully?
He used to do it all the time.
Yeah. So, had a good career. And unlike what you said, he did actually play for Villa at the start of his career. 9 goals in 102 games. I was actually a bit gutted when we sold him to Fulham, because obviously, you always want your academy players to do quite well. 4 separate spells at Rangers, though.
Newcastle ended up winning 4-1, by the way. Well, they're still 4-1 now. And Man City won 3-1.
Absolutely battered them.
Barcelona have won. I mean, it's played into Newcastle really well because Dortmund and AC Milan finished 0-0 as well. So, that's good. Good for them because that means now they'll got a couple of points clear now. They got Dortmund next. So,
but the real European competition starts tomorrow night. So, just saying the Europa Conference League is where everybody wants to be. Clearly,
don't knock it. There's, it's a good way into the Europa League. Like I said, you could get from the Europa Conference League to the Champions League by winning the 2 cups to get to the Champions League.
Absolutely.
And not play well in the league. So Cool. Anything else for this week, Liam?
Not this week.
So we are not doing a podcast next week. And then I believe it's also international week after, isn't it? So we may or may not do one then. So
a little bit of a break.
Yeah. So,
yes, there is.
We'll have a think, but definitely no podcast next week. But we may be back in 2 weeks or 3 weeks.